I love that, but there's women that won't even look down.
Right.
And
that's what frustrates me. It's like, how are you?
I'm like, look down. This is hilarious.
Why would you not look down?
and
That's
so,
a great point, too.
And so,
Welcome to the MF podcast, and I'm just gonna go right into it. What bugs me about the LA nightlife scene here is how there can be so many gorgeous, attractive women. The ratio is insane, right? But they don't get our dad jokes. They're not like getting humor on a high level, and I'm down to crack it. Don't get me wrong. I look at the challenge. I know Albert doesn't, but I don't. Do you ever get annoyed by that?
but annoyed by what exactly?
Like lack of humor and okay, perfect example. So we go out for Halloween, even though it's like our fourth night in a row going out. We're all like fucking spent. And we bring these two girls in. We're in the table line. We bring these two girls in with us who are clearly like waiting, by the way. They were like vultures hovering, like, please, someone get us in. And we finally get her in, and it's a girl's birthday. She's got this like cat mask on with spikes. They're all dressed like dominatrix. They're all sexy, dolled up. It's her birthday. I'm like, these girls are here to party, and they're ready to go. And then the entire night, she's just on her phone, editing Instagram videos, taking a perfect picture. I'm giving her little lines like, is it more fun in there than it is out here? And she goes, no. And I'm just like, this is not a person. Like, you're in here just to take a photo. You're not here to have fun. Okay, this is what it is. You're not here to have fun. You're here to have the perception of fun. And that's more important.
Yeah. So you're referring to the two girls that came in with us, right?
Yes.
So one of the girls was, and I was telling Albert, me and Albert caught on real quick. I'm like, she's not coming in with us. She's not coming in with us. But she hooked me really well. I'm a big advocate with animals. And she's like, yeah, my dog's not doing so well. I'm like, oh, shit, she got me with that. So they ended up coming in with us. And I got to tell you, I couldn't disagree with both of you more.
Really? Right.
Yeah. And I think in Hollywood, it happens like this, just like Roxy in Florida. Okay. It was just, she was shut down. Two Russian women that we met at a yacht. And Jared, you were like, these girls, I can't crack them. Then I started going in front of the yacht. We were at a yacht party.
Well, no, I said like pulling teeth, and you're looking at me like, yes, this is
No, but
awful.
I agreed with you. Like Roxy and her friend were just shut down the whole time. Me and Jared are like doing one-liners to them. We're trying to be charismatic. Nothing.
Russian, Eastern European women,
Nothing till they opened up. And now Roxy's like my homegirl, right? Like really open. I feel like Hollywood women are like that. And because I hit a commonality with one of the girls, she was my wing girl for like half an hour. We went downstairs to the table. I got like 7 or 8 Instagram, phone number exchanges. Some other stuff happened. She was a great wing girl. And she completely opened up to me. But when another guy came in, I saw the other side of her. I was like, woo. The guy was like, hey, what's up? What's your name? She's like, I don't have a name. Can you please stop? I was like, wow. But then she would turn to me and be like, so what girl? Like, yeah, let's go talk to her. Watch. I'll approach her. So they're either, I see what you guys are saying, but I don't know why for me it hit. The other girl, very nice to me as well. I was giving her compliance test.
Here's my counter to this, Kos.
Yeah.
To me, it's not about specific. It's Jared said something earlier to me. He goes, man, he's like, yeah, I feel like the girls here are like this way, and I want to crack them, right? You have to like figure out how to get them. And I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, I don't have to crack anything. They got to crack me. I'm like, dude, I'm 37 years old. I bring a lot, like not from a bragging place, but I bring a lot to the fucking table, brother. Like I don't go out to be like, please allow me to enter your world. It's the exact opposite. Are you worth entering my world? I'm like, if a girl's sitting here on her phone, I'm not like, oh, what is a strategy to win over this girl who's on the phone and doesn't have social awareness? My strategy is, can I move next to her and jump off the balcony head first? Because I want to fucking kill myself. Because they don't know how to be human beings at a level that is, to me, somebody I want to be around. And that's what I saw. It was more like, it's not that they're like difficult or it's hard. It's just like dealing with human beings that aren't fun to be around. And you know what I think I realized, Jarrett and Kos, is even though we're here in Southern California and we're out in West Hollywood, we're not really dealing with California girls. Everyone was from where? Sweden, all over Europe. Like they're not like I was born in Bakersfield and I live here. They're like they were like imported in on like the Hot Girl Express to come here to like do that whole thing.
It's a mecca.
Yeah.
They they.
And I don't think that there's people that are like homophobic, transphobic. I think I'm just European girl phobic. I think I'm like Europhobic. I just don't like their energy. They don't understand American humor. It's very transactional. I did like the girl that Cosmo was talking about. She was very cool. I think she was an exception to the rule. Right. But I think for a lot of them, it's so dry, transactional. You don't like. When did you see groups of people in that club yesterday laughing amongst each other? Right. When did you see laughter?
Albert, the thing for me is I actually don't mind if it's transactional. Yeah. I actually agree with Dan Bilzerian when
and a lot
he
of guys like that too. I think
I like transactional, and I love what Dan Bilzerian said. They're like, have you ever got a hooker with it? And he's like, why are you guys making fun of hookers? I wish I can get hookers the whole time. Like transactional for me, I enjoy. That girl last night, it was transactional. Oh, yeah. She's like, you got me in. How can I help you? Right. And I'm like, you're going to be my wing girl. She's like, I got you. And in the middle of that transaction, we vibed, we laughed, we connected. She's like, you know what I do, right? I'm like, what do you do? She's like, I'm a stripper. And
Oh, she was a stripper?
Yeah.
She worked at Tootsie's.
She worked at Tootsie's. She was a stripper, and she's like, I know how to handle men very well. Like she was telling me, I got a guy to give me like $80,000. Oh, no, whatever. I don't want to say the whatever. A lot of money in like 2 weeks, and then XYZ. She's really good at gaming guys. I feel we're really good at talking to women. Yeah. That was the commonality that we hit. Meaning that she saw everyone like a sheep, and when she was talking to me, I'm like, "Don't run your game on me." Yeah. And then I'm like, "I won't run my game on you." And we're like, "Let's be." At the
very beginning, I felt that same vibe. Like even when she came up to me, like I talked to Brent, I'm like, what's like? You came up to me like, what's happening here, and I literally just told him, what's happening here. Like they were just like, so we're in this line, and Cosmo's like coordinating the whole thing to get us into the table, and it was very obvious that they were like. The reason I knew is because she like opened us. She's like, "Hey, what's going on, guys? Like, how are you?" I'm just like, "Okay, this is
something."
Your look compared to this situation, it's like it doesn't add up here. These numbers, I'm like, "Oh, you." And then I even like commented to her friend. I go, "Oh, see," because her friend's like on the phone, and then this one is like she's the like us of the group. She was like, and I'm like, "Oh, so you sent her in because she's like the chatty one to like talk to us to see if we can get on the table." Like, and I respect the hustle. I respect at least her hustle and I think she got offended when I said that, but I don't mean that negatively. Like when somebody's trying to game me, I'm not like mad at them for doing it. I'm just like, I know exactly what's happening, and I appreciate it, but it's not going to work on me. Is like that's my approach. But she had to do it. I think she was the exception, not the rule, to the vibe in there. Most girls were not her vibe. Most girls were her friend, the Brazilian one, who literally 90% of the night she was taking photos, evaluating them, and filtering them. I don't think she even like knew what was happening.
And when we went down, I mean, I feel like it was your nightmare where you didn't even want to approach. You're just like, screw this shit. We're to every single girl, which was physically your type. I'm like, here's a tall, hot blonde girl. Yeah. We got the models, the Dorothy and Glenda, whatever. And it was just like, everyone was like, nope.
Cosmo made a really good point about something he teaches the students in the program in modern flirting. And I saw it so present in yesterday in like Gen Pop is the eye contact. Like if you talk to the girls here, they're always like, they're just like looking here. No. They're like not really. There's no level of like engrossed to what's happening here.
I noticed that when I lived in Vegas, a lot of people do the same thing in the Vegas
like,
nightlife.
It's like when I talk to people in real life, like just for whatever reason, I have a thing that when I talk to them, people just I'm captive. Like I can see people are like captivated with the interaction. Right. There was no captivating interactions. Everything was very surface and like everyone's kind of shifting all over the place. Oh, what's here? Oh, you're a person cool. Like there was no like this. People weren't just like. Does that make sense, Kaz? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Before I realized it was a status thing, I thought like when I first saw, I'm like, does this person like autistic or like Asperger's? Because I'm like, they have problems with eye contact, and then I realized, oh no, they're trying to be cool, and I'm like, I don't get that. Like that was never cool growing up. Like not being able to make eye contact was always like a not alpha thing. It was almost like a loser thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, they think this is cool, but what's your take on all that?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I started coaching it, is when a guy walks up to a girl, it's better for him to have a lack of eye contact to get her to work, to get his attention. And I got it from a lot of the women that I've interacted with in Hollywood, where they have this energy that they're always going somewhere, even though they're not.
Right.
There's this energy that they're going there, and after that they're going to meet that group. And even if there's like 9 girls sitting down, because I go to Tao all the time, I know a lot of the staff there. I know that's like my home turf. Even girls sitting down at a table will still make you feel like they're going somewhere.
Right.
Like when I walk up, I approach women sitting down. I'm like, hey guys, they still have an energy like they're going somewhere. Yeah. And they're not. They're there for 3 hours.
Like they're kind of like about to leave and whatever. And
so I started to mirror that, and it hits really well. At least with me, it hits really well. Because I mirror that energy. And so they're like, what's wrong with your friend? Like, is he mad at me? And then they'll come up to me and they're like, hey, are you mad at me? I'm like, when did we meet? And I give them that energy. Right. And so once I give them that energy back, it's like real recognizes real. Are you done playing your game? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I won't play my game. Now let's be friends. And they can drop that.
Right.
But I agree with what you're saying, Albert, is why do we have to work that hard with someone that is pretending to have fun? Like you are at Tao at one of the best Halloween parties, and you are smiling with your IG like that. Oh, hey, having fun. And then she gets off the phone and she's like this, just no smile, Correct. Nothing. And then you look at her IG and she's like, having a time of my life. So, no, you're not. You're not having a time of your life at all.
Here's something that I think, and I don't know, Kosmo, have you ever taken an improv class?
Absolutely. 16 years.
Okay. So I've never taken one, but I've seen shows that I like their improv. That I've never thought about like this, but this is what I think like cold approach is when it's going well. It's like 2 people get thrown on stage and the one person's starting the improv and they're like, we're in a taxi cab, right? And then the other person has to run with the improv and be like, I'm late to my flight, right? So that's how I do cold approach. I give them a chance to enter the improv with me. And then these girls that I don't like are like, what are we doing? Like, we're not in a taxi cab. And I'm just like, all right, kill yourself. I'm like, I wish we were, because I would drive it into a pickup truck or into like a semi truck. And that's my thing is like, I look at it like I'm giving you an opportunity to be part of this fun improv troupe. And like, here's like some balls to juggle. And if they're just like, what are these balls to juggle? I'm just like, you suck. Give me a next person. Like does that make sense? I look at it like I'm an experienced improv actor and they're not giving me anything back in the improv on stage.
Yeah, that's where I think we're very similar, except for that parting game. Because I barely ask any questions, and you're good with questions. Yeah. And I believe that it's more about showcasing my personality, letting them know who I am. So I come at it more of like very low compliance and big time storytelling. You come at it with high level compliance. Yeah. And then if they're not jumping through your hoop, you're like, all right, bye, Felicia. Hey, what's up? I'm Albert. No, okay. Bye. And so that's where our game is a little different.
I think it's so interesting because it's like we're similar in a lot of ways, but those two approaches, it's like, and that's why I think what Jared does, he kind of blends everything together for modern flirting and helps people. And I think that's so important, man. It's like back in the day, obviously, we talked about in the episode of Kosmo's origin story. If you haven't seen it, it's a great episode where the early days was so formulaic in the pickup artistry. Everybody had to do everything exactly the same. And that doesn't really work. You have to like be congruent with who you are as a human being and develop your own style and your own, kind of like shape to how you execute, whether it's cold approach or dating or relationships. Like, how did you, like for you, Jared, like stylistically, where do you fall? Like, what is your comfort zone with that?
So I think it's kind of like this concept where Kosmo and I think more than you will attack it as a game. Where it's like, how do we crack it? How do we figure it out? It's like playing a video game, right? It's like, all right, there's the right move or the wrong move. What is the right move? Let's play with this, whatever. But obviously, what is the point of this game? And this is where it goes next to your point, is the whole point of this game is to make a genuine, actual, real connection with someone.
Right.
So my take on it is I want the control, the power, the game, whatever, where I can literally like make it work with any girl I meet. So I can crack it, right? Even if it's maybe not the ones that are the best for me, the ones that I want. I just like knowing like I can be a chameleon, I can make it happen. However, you have to kind of like know when to turn that off and have your own qualifiers, your own things that you want, so you're not wasting time on shitty women, and actually make sure that it will, because it can. I think this is where we can fuck up, honestly, where we get so caught up in the chase and figuring out and cracking it that we're like, why are we investing so much time?
Oh, that's
in this wrong girl.
To validate your point, I text you before you came to California. I'm like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm on this date. I'm like, You having fun? You're like, no, this means nothing. So you're just like going out on dates for no reason. Like you,
well, I mean, that's what dates are.
But it was like,
Can I tell you one thing that I think is super important, Cosmo? And that I think that what Jarrett's doing, if you were Jarrett Singer in 2007, 8, and 9, for sure.
Yeah.
And I look at it like this is martial arts. And until you earn your black belt, you got to do all of the work. And you got to treat it like a game. And even if the girl sucks, you got to sit there and like work on it and eat the shit and continue to develop your skill set and get better. But when you become a black belt, you don't waste time with things that are not literally high level competition. Like for me, I'm like, I'm not going to sit. I could do what you're saying. And you're like, let's figure out how to crack this code. And I could do it. And I have done it before. But it's just, that's when I feel empty. And that's when I get to like, oh, this is like I don't have, if I'm not enjoying myself and I feel cringy, then I'm just like,
I like challenges.
I think the key, you just nailed it to a lot of guys that are watching this, figuring out how not to lose the passion and keep the excitement. It's exactly how you got into Delilah. You made that fun. You're like, I'm going to crack this code.
Right.
That's how me and Jared are with the beginning of that approach. Because you got to a very hard venue, not knowing anyone, and you made it a mission. You're like, I'm going to crack this code.
Yeah, for those who hadn't seen that episode, we talk about getting into one of the more elite clubs in the Los
I don't know what the fuck had just happened there, but our producer Brian just came in the bag and ever so slightly moved a bag. Talk about continuity. It's like, what was that? Brian, explain this. What happened there? Okay. No,
yeah.
Anyway, so now if you saw a bag earlier,
that's a good point though. I understand what you're saying. Like, and I have done it, Cosmo. So I don't want you again. I'm 37, bro. I've been doing this for a long time. So like and the irony, Jared said something earlier that's like super accurate. The irony is when I first started, my thought was like, one day I'll have enough game to be able to walk up to a Russian supermodel at a high-end club and pick her up. And then I built to that, and then got good enough to do it. And then I'm like, this is not what I want at all. I want a girl who's at a dive bar drinking a beer, knows the quarterback's name. And I'm like, I always like literally. So our old boss, Dan Silverman, who started with Miami Dating Coach, asked me during our intergame thing, what's your biggest sticking point? And when I first started as a coach with him, you know what my answer was? Dealing with 10s. I was like, dude, I just want to be able to get 10s, right? In my head, I'm like, if she's a 10, she's like this fucking beautiful girl, that's the end goal. And it actually really isn't the end goal. I don't think I would ever really want to marry a 10. I want like a girl that's like very attractive, don't get me wrong.
solid 8.
But like is more cool than she is hot. Does that make sense?
No, 100% makes sense.
I'm
100%.
totally on board with that.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Me too. Yep.
And I think that some of these girls, it's a Louis C.K. thing where it's like, he's like, some of these girls, their entire identity is I'm a hot girl.
People want to fuck me.
Yeah, they're like, what do you do? Well, I go over here and people want to fuck me, and then I go over there and people want to fuck me. And that's her entire identity is like, I'm the hot girl.
Fuckable.
Whereas
it's like,
that to me is just like, oh, like I'd rather talk to a girl that's not attractive at all, but is super cool and chill
I'm
and
with
fun.
you on that.
Yeah,
I
get
you can
it.
still be like, I got the fish. I'm not going to marry the fish. Fuck this fish. But it's just sport of getting that marlin. It's just like, it's a challenge of it. But I am with you on.
The last part is okay. My last thing I'll say on this, and that's it. I'll drop it, is that I also know what the sport is to get them, and I don't like it.
Okay, but then it's not your sport.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
It's like ice fishing,
Yeah.
right? So there's guys in Alaska that sit there and they ice fish. That to me is ice fishing. I'm like, I'm a deep sea fisherman, but now you're like, go to a place, put on a coat. And I'm like, dude, I don't like the cold. I'm like, I know what to do. I know how to like play the value game and do the whole thing. It's just that to me is me being fake Albert.
But then
I don't ever want to be.
You keep
fake.
saying you're like, look, I'm this awesome guy. I know my worth. I'm successful.
Strong, independent woman.
Right. You're a strong, independent woman, right?
Man.
You go up to a random girl off the streets in LA, random girl, any bar, whatever. How the fuck is she supposed to know that, right? So you still have to display yourself. And even though you know it, unless it's a social circle, which we're all
immediately. Women are Cosmo, back me up on this. Women are incredibly perceptive. Within the first minute, a girl can tell your tonality, how aware you are, your positioning, your body language, your eye contact.
Things still need to hit. Commonalities need to hit. She has to realize this is. She can subtly see like, all right, you're confident and you're smooth and you're comfortable with yourself. But like for her, she has so many options. It sucks. Okay, so I experienced this. When I lived in San Diego, I was literally like a celebrity. I would walk down the street. I remember doing boot camps, and every block, a random person
must not be much going on in that.
No, San Diego, yeah, it's a very small town. Everybody would random people would walk up to me. I'd get recognized. People would know who I am, and I have no idea who they were. Whether it was the entrepreneur scene, whether it was the party scene, and I'm like, this is literally insane. 'Cause I cracked it to that degree, right? And I got lazy, honestly, because it was just like. I could just go out. I'd have party buses. I'd have the table out with the DJ every single time. Mansions. I'd have 6 boats lined up every other Sunday we can go on. It was fucking nuts. You saw me in the Vegas days where it was like that. I had lesser of it there, but like always something going out with like 30 girls who wanted a table or whatever. I come back to Fort Lauderdale, and I don't have any of this. And this is right after COVID too, so everybody's in pandemic. And I'm like, fuck, I have to like prove myself again to this girl who like I almost wanted to be like shake him, like, do you know who I was? Like, do you even know who I am? It was like a weird fame celebrity feeling. And I'm like,
that's how I felt at Delilah. I was like, wait,
what are you? Yeah, you're gonna reject me? Right. Do you know what I've been through and who the women I've been with and like what? But you got to realize perception is reality. And I realized, I'm like, they have no idea. So unless you have that lifestyle dialed in, and this is why I think it's so important, if you don't have that social circle lifestyle, you're just a random guy on the street meeting a girl, you got to go through the dance and the bells and whistle again, because that could be your dream girl, but she will not make the eye contact with you, not be compliant right away, and not see your worth because you're just like, to me, it's like laziness to display it first.
You got to do your front-loaded work, brother. And that everybody does. If you're watching this and you're like, I don't have a lot of success with women, everyone's always worrying about out and like, how do I get her? How do I do this? And it's like, dude, look at yourself. Like, get in shape. Learn how to dress. Yeah. Learn how to carry yourself. Learn how to like, learn about the world. So when she says, I'm from this place, you're not just like, okay, I don't know anything about that place. Understand cultural things, understand humor, understand, I think it's like the reason I kind of like, and I don't have an ego, man, but in this part, I do believe in myself. It's like, because I spent a lot of time going from a fucking 24-year-old kid who had to eat 29-cent cheeseburgers on Tuesdays because I couldn't afford anything else, and like didn't have.
He got me on like Quiznos $5 subs. He was so proud. He's like, bro, Monday Moe's was Monday, and then like Tuesdays was Quiznos, and we're like, we got the deal,
dude. I've come a long way from a guy who didn't have shit fucking going for himself to like I turned myself into. One of my friends told me, he's like, oh, you're an entity now. Like, I'm an entity. I became an adult, and like that's. I kind of view it from that perspective. I'm like, I don't come in like I'm better than you, but I'm just like, if I'm going to interact with a person, they got to bring something to the table.
How does random LA girl know this? She might still think you're the guy who's looking for Quiznos deals. She has to know this. You know this. Cosmo, what are you? I want to hear your take.
Yeah, no, like I said, the first time that I saw you talking to women, Albert, I told Jared, me and Albert are the same person when you get in a flow state and how good you are with improv, but the initial mindset of approaching a girl and how you coach questions and how I coach no questions, only statement, I think that's where a game is really different. I coach and I believe that it's the guy's job to showcase his attributes and who he is, maybe because my background is an actor and I'm an entertainer. So when you buy my movie, I want you to sit down, and it's not their job to do anything. It's my job to entertain them.
So my counter is, I actually take what you're saying, but I flip it on them. So I'm generating moments to entertain them that they're surprised. So I'm creating my own setups for my own punchlines. So when I ask them a question, their response is going to have an auto-generated opportunity for me and the students to make a joke. So it doesn't seem like they're like, oh, let me tell you this story that it's on the top of my head.
So you're like a stand-up comedian. He's like an improv comedian.
No,
you're like crowd work.
No, I'm creating situations where they're like, "Wow, you thought about that on the spot." Like I'm making them walk to. It's like, you know what it is?
It's crowd work.
My style of is like what do you guys call it when you put the finger on the thing and go up?
The nose boop. Or
like that's my entire style.
Let's not talk about that.
Like,
that's a whole running.
My whole style is to I go here. This is the question, and then they answer the question, and then it hits them.
Boom.
Right. So I make them look down by answering the question, and then I hit them, and then they're like, "Oh, you got me there." So they thought that they were looking down because there's something on their shirt, but they thought they were answering "Where are you from?" But they're really giving me an opportunity to display that.
I love that, but there's women that won't even look down.
Right.
And
That's what frustrates him. He's just like, how are you?
I'm like, look down. This is hilarious.
Why would you not look down?
That's a great point, too.
And so therefore, the frustration and which I saw last night from you a little bit, where you get impatient, you're like, okay, I'm done. That's where it sets in. Because you're like, I'm trying to help you.
Right.
And it happened with Brent. We went hiking. I opened up 2 black girls from Chicago. They were amazing.
Oh, why did
and
he
he
black?
did, and then he
I don't
did
see color.
and he did the technique, the breadcrumb, but it didn't work. They didn't tell Brent where you from.
Right.
So I saw him what he was doing, and they never bid on it. They just were like cool, and it didn't go anywhere. Where my mindset is, no matter, I'm going to make this happen. And I'm going to be so enthusiastic and passionate about showcasing this part of myself that I don't need you to do anything. The best compliment I ever got from a girl was I was talking to her for 15 minutes. She probably had 30 seconds to interject. And at the end of that conversation, she said, "You are one of the best guy listeners I've ever talked to."
That's hilarious.
And I was talking the whole time. So my game is I make it very interactive. And it's almost like a video game where you're playing a video game and it gives you options like, okay, do you want to go on this trail or you want to go on that trail? So it's really interactive. And again, I'll keep going back to if you're not having fun doing it, then don't do it.
Right,
You have to find the joy of it. Like last night, I cracked so many women that in the initial approach, they were really mean. When I went downstairs, I had a little bit of help because I had that really good wing girl, the stripper wing girl. She was amazing. But I got into the mindset of like, there's a really famous DJ there. What's his name, Albert? Gordo. Shout out to Gordo. He was amazing. I didn't know he was famous. And I'm like, I want to get in that table. And I started to get anxiety. I'm like, it's too hard. And when I felt that, I'm like, now I want to do it. Yeah. And I was trying to figure out how to do it. I'm like, I'm going to go all in and I'm going to walk straight to the guy and I'm going to say, "Oh my God, bro, so good to see you again." Yeah. And I put so much pressure on him that's like, "Yo, what up, brother?" I'm like, "Bro, so good to see you again last time. So much fun." He's like, yeah, come right in. I was in. Just like that. And I got fun. That for me was fulfillment. Even if he would have rejected me, I would have been like, I'm going to try to crack this. For me, it was fun. And then, the girls that were there, introducing my wing girl to them, I was having fun with it. Even though when I was meeting the girls, they didn't give me no eye contact. They gave me a fish handshake. "Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you." Like that. Yeah. They were like this.
Albert's over here ice fishing while he's partying in the DJ table. He's like, this is the worst.
Like it was a fish handshake, like barely any eye contact. And then I'm like, yeah, my movie Counterpunch. And then, my dog Rambo's back at home. I feel guilty. She's like, "What kind of dog do you have?" And then they switched. I'm like, that's the real version of you. I always coach this to every single guy. I approach every time I go out during the day or at night to talk to women like it's Halloween. That's my mindset. Every day is Halloween. I perceive that they're wearing a costume. That's not the real version of them. They're acting, and I want to see who you are behind the costume. Every time I go out, I think it's Halloween. That's my mindset.
That's pretty fucking good.
Yeah. I mean, it is interesting, that concept where, like, what your perception.
Thanks, Jared. Yeah,
it's great. No, I'm on your
fucking killer.
On your point, it's true. But like, what a girl is, what you're seeing is a snapshot of her. So like, she might be this awesome girl, but like Kosmo's saying, you're just seeing her pitchy Halloween costume.
I love what Kosmo said. I agree with it. I'm behind it. I just think I think that if you have to put on that facade where you can't recognize someone's genuine energy and be open from the beginning, you don't deserve my investment. I can do it, and I love the fact because the guy's a fighter. Like the best part of that story was my favorite part of that story is when he walked up to the table. He goes, "I want to be there," and then he had the mental dialogue where he's like, "Oh, it's too hard," but he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it." Right? That's like that. I love and I appreciate that because that's still a genuine passion for it. But my opinion with girls is I'm gonna give them a chance because the reason, again, this going back to this thing is I'm giving them an opportunity to see if they deserve my time. And if they can't showcase that early, my time's limited, brother. Like, you hear that? The clock's ticking. Like, I don't have time to see if okay, let me coach you on how to be a human. When somebody looks at you, don't shake their hand like that.
What about if the girl's mindset was, I'm going to get the same mindset you have? So now you're at a stalemate. where she's like, if he's not showing me anything soon, I'm gonna walk away.
But it is from the very beginning. It's palpable. Like there's nobody that. I mean, from my experience, I have a knack of creating immediate relationships with humans where they leave and they're like, "You're my favorite human I've ever met."
You're really good at that.
It
Very
happens.
Quick rapport,
Guys, girls. Animals, inanimate objects. They just people are like
Cupid still barks at him.
Yeah, people are just like, you're
I don't know
great.
Cupid.
So I don't really like. If they don't get it, then that's just their lack of awareness. And I'm just like, you're an unaware person, and I'm not mad at them for being unaware. And again, too, sometimes maybe I'm being harsh on them. Maybe they had a hard. I tell students all the time. We tell guys all the time. It's like some guys, in my early days when I would go out, if I got rejected or blown out, I'm like, I did something wrong. But it's not always that you did something wrong. You did something wrong, right? They could just, their dog could have just died. Maybe they're going through struggles at work. Maybe something's going on. And I feel for them because I've had those interactions with girls before where like, I met them and I'm like, this girl's like sourpuss. She's just not cool. And then like it recycled back and I see what Kosmo's done. And again, sometimes in my early days, I used to push through that more. I've gotten more, I give myself more room now, but like sometimes, dude, this shit happens, brother. People don't realize like they could be having a hard day. They could be their mother could be sick. You never know what's going on in somebody's life. But yeah, I feel like I've kind of evolved my take on that, Jared. I know you're
I'm more, I've been always kind of like in a Cosmos camp on this. I'm making myself lean more your way just because I feel, and this is my word of caution to you and for guys both of us, is I think sometimes we can get so caught up in the cracking of things that, and yes, and I agree with you, like it might be a mask, maybe we can find the real one, but also sometimes we get behind that costume and it's just another shitty costume.
Right.
Or just another, or the real person is still shitty, but we're so into I'm going to crack her, right? Versus this is what I want. Yes, maybe you're in a bad mood or whatever, let me turn it around or whatever, but also it's kind of like an audition where it's like what you see is what you get. This is your audition time. This is the interview. You might be the perfect candidate for the job, but you got to present yourself correctly. And I think it comes down to what we all preach here is that lifestyle funnel. And it's the idea of I'm going to see these people again and again. So they're going to see me. We're going to have social media. You're going to see at least what I'm projecting, what you're projecting. We're going to be doing fun, interesting things that go with what my interest and the people I bring around me interest. So like in Florida, be like taking the boat out or taking a yacht out. Here would be after parties in California, Vegas with a nightclub. It'll be something, right? I think that's the ultimate blend of let me meet a ton of women. You got your Halloween costume on? Cool, I don't give a fuck. I'll still have fun and play around. If you're not into, I'm not into you, but let me funnel you into this lifestyle. And from there, I can start repeat mere exposure effect. I can keep seeing them, and that's going to tell me if she's the right one for me. But I'm literally like, I want to learn more what Albert's doing on the qualifying and the screening, because I know me, like we said, like I'm on a date where I'm like, I'm just on a date to be on a date. I don't know. I'm just going through the motions, and like I don't like that.
You know what's part of it that made me more screen more, and I'm curious your guys' take on this. Did you ever feel like, because this is our friend Jared, our mutual really good friend Brandon, pointed this out to me. He always called me, he said, Albert, you're the ultimate people pleaser. There's been so many times where I would coordinate a New Year's or a big thing, and I was always checking to see if everyone else is having fun. Are you okay? Are you good? Are you good? And then at the end of the night, did I actually have fun? Not at all. And I literally, he took me a while to be like, he literally tapped me and he's like, dude, you realize that like all these people want to like take from you and you're just like giving to them, but you're never looking after yourself. And it took me a while to be like, shit, you're right. Like I need to be more selective with who I give my time, my energy, my care to.
Do you get this? I have a question on it because I get this, and then I'll ask you too. I don't like the energy when it's my birthday.
Right.
Right? Because everyone's like, it's whatever you want. I'm like, but I want everybody happy. I'm like, whatever the people want, like, let's all have fun. They're like, well, no, it's your birthday. What you, Jared, let's celebrate you. And I'm like, I'd rather be somebody else's birthday. Like,
I actually think the opposite. I think my birthday, I feel like, I'm like, everyone's here for me. I got to make sure everything's right. The reservation, the table. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, I got to do everything right. But everyone's like, no, it's whatever you want, Jared. I'm like,
So I noticed last year, I'm figuring out with Jared, and I feel like I've done it really good. Like when we hang out, I know how to make him feel better. I know how to empower him really quick. When Jared's stressed out, I know how to get that out of him.
And a giant shot of vodka. That's this
giant
big.
shot of vodka.
I'm for those watching, I'm literally not drinking till my birthday. I'll make an exception until New Year's. I'm going on a sobriety thing. Like I'm done.
Smash cut 4 hours later tonight drinking. So last year we celebrated our birthday together. And you had such a good time, but here's what I noticed, because it was on me.
Yes.
And I'm also like you, when it's only on me, I don't enjoy it that much. So when it was on Jared too, I felt like it was a good balance, right? Like I'm like, oh, it's Jared and Kosmo's birthday. And you enjoyed it, you lived in a moment. I have a huge problem with what you said, Albert. I'm the same person. Look at what happened with me. A lot of it organizing a boot camp, organizing last night, stressed out. Oh, I'm texting both of you. I'm getting no response. I know the table's gone. Boom, table's gone. We have to pay more money. And it's really overwhelming to be a leader. Everyone's like, I want to be a leader. I want to be a leader. Yeah. You have no idea the work that goes into it.
Behind the
one
scenes,
one of the qualities that Jared has over me and you, Albert, that is a good quality that me and you can learn from, is Jared's aloofness.
Yeah.
And he has this ability to just unplug and just be like, I'm chilling, I'm having fun. Where me and you are like, that girl needs to have fun. She's over here. I invited her. We're computing quickly.
It's literally, you're right. It's a fucking it's a blessing and a curse to be constantly aware of like what's like, to be like ignorance. Not saying you're ignorant, but I'm saying to like not be so in tune with everything that's happening.
Hey, how's my mom doing? Let's go.
I super agree, and I'm glad you're right, because that to me is how I thought this would make sense to you, because that's how I felt for a long time. And it's like, what a point. People think, I want to be a leader. I want to be the center of attention, right? That seems like everyone wants to be that guy. Like, hey, that guy leads super cool, but they don't realize that at the end of the night, that guy's the one that like had to do everything and usually got stuck with the tab, and nobody asked him if he needed anything, and nobody checked on him.
Wears a crown.
Yeah, nobody checked on him. It's a different side.
That's what I loved about San Diego when I was there. I wasn't the head guy. The head guy was this VIP host. He ran the second largest promotions company in San Diego called Nightlife. His name is Drew. And when I was doing my celebrity shit at San Diego, he was the head guy. So he's doing the party buzz. He's doing the tables. I'd help out. I'd walk the girls in for him, or I'd round them up. But I was always like, it's not my shit. It's Drew's shit. I'm just here for a good time, and it was awesome. I loved being like the second in command guy who just didn't have to worry.
Well, here's my next level to that is
command guy.
So I take that. Me and you share that a lot. And I still know that it's my personality. I've taken it back a little bit. I used to like, my friend Brandon used to tell me, it's like, dude, you have more friends than anybody on earth. And I'm like, yeah, I try to shrink a circle. But now what I try to do is, and I think this is why it shows in my cold approach.
You shrank a circle. We made the cut. We did it.
Yeah. Yes. I think that why that showcases in my cold approach game is because I look at it like my barrier for entry to get into me is tougher. Like
it's hard to get into you.
Yes.
How hard? I added how hard is it to get into you?
Well, it depends how many White Claws I had that night.
Wasn't that hard?
But when you're in now, there's more. When you're in my circle now, there's more than Jesus. Okay.
It's hard to get into me when you're in my circle.
Okay.
I'm immature. I'm fucking fine.
I get it.
Like the word choice. Am I crazy, Brian? He's just like, it's really hard to get into me, but when you're in my circle.
How passionate Jared is right now. I love this.
He's like, it really hurts. It really hurts when guys get in my circle. Please finish.
This segment is brought to you by Fisher Price. And,
please make a reel of this. This is the best.
No, what I'm saying, when you get into my social circle and my social graces.
Just keep saying that. It's going to keep
social
laughing.
Orbit. When you're in my social orbit,
right.
I have more energy and love, and I can show those people more time and give them a better time.
So when people hardly enter your circle, you show them more love. That's good. I think more guys should be like that. Right. I mean, you are close to ultimate manners. I get it.
I get it.
So yeah, Albert is talking about when you're inside his social circle, when you're in there.
When you're in there,
deep in there. How deep does somebody have to?
But how come you didn't laugh when I said it?
No, how deep does somebody have to be in your circle for you to want to show them your love? I'm curious. I mean, that's a good point you made.
Listen, I'm 37. I might do the second half game, man. Who knows? To quote Louis C.K.
How much easier would that'd be so
great. It would be a
easy.
blessing.
Oh my God.
I want to go back to 2 points. I still stand by, I think, in my opinion, the most efficient way to be a chameleon is you can take me to a dive bar, the bougie places where usually I like to go. It's not your crowd, Albert, right? Like every time we go out, I like the bougie places. I like the pool parties, right, Brent? The W hotels, all that. I'm not a big dive bar guy. But I feel like how I coach and how I game in the beginning is more malleable. I'm more of a chameleon where you could take me to a rock house or hip hop, ghetto, very preppy, famous, all of the above, because my job is I'm going to showcase my personality. Now, you mixed what I was saying. I'm a big component in qualifying the girl. I feel like when you don't qualify the girl, she takes you for granted. She's not investing in you, and then you're not. Every high value guy I know has big qualifications. They want to know, like, what do you have? What are you bringing to my life?
Right.
But that's after I have showcased to the girl who I am. I'm going to give you a perfect example. Last night, the stripper girl, now my new wing girl, in the beginning, the first thing that came out of her mouth, did me and you, Albert, like her? Yes or no? No. We did not. We're like, you're trying to use us. You want to get in for free. We didn't like her. So here's what she did that was really brilliant. It was her job to showcase to me why she's a cool human being, why she's a high value girl, what value she has to bring to me. She wasn't like, well, he should know that I'm a high value girl. Why isn't he offering? She was not entitled. And here's what she told me that I was so amazed. Watch this. She knew that I was testing her.
Right.
And she hit me with what I coach. I think that you have to hit a commonality with a girl and figure out what gets her excited and what she's passionate about in the first 45 seconds. You have to figure that out. She did it with me. And I'm like, you're like Kosmo, but with a vagina. And here's what she did really well. She noticed in my eyes that I was going to say yes. She told me aside. She's like, I got you with the dog thing, didn't I? And I'm like, you did. And you're so lucky it wasn't a lie. I said, let me see your phone. She showed me her phone, allowed me to read her text, right? And I read her whole text, and I said, I'm so sorry. I still can't let you in, but have a great night. I was hoping that she showed her true character right there. And I was thinking that she was going to say, well, fuck you, loser. I don't care. But she didn't.
Right.
Only because her EQ levels were so high that she stood there and she's like, hey, sweetie, I understand. I'm being annoying right now. Have a great night, boo. Like you guys.
I thought that was excellent.
It was the moment where she got me because I was testing her. I'm like, I made you get out your phone. I called you out to see if the dog thing was real. Okay, you are going through a tough time with your dog right now. I am as well too. My dog has a tumor. We bonded on that. And so after I did that, I'm like, I'm sorry, I still can't let you in. I was a shit test. I wanted to see, again, going back to my Halloween mindset that I have every single day. I wanted to see the real version of you. And she didn't crack. And even though I rejected her, she was like, well, have a great night, boo. I understand I'm being annoying, blah, blah, blah. And I walk away, and I came back and I'm like, all right, let's go.
Right.
That's how she won me over. And then 20 minutes later, she told me we were like drinking and she's like, I know where I got you. And I'm like, where? She's like, you thought that I was going to be mean to you when you rejected me after I showed you. She was aware of it.
That's awesome.
She was aware of it. Hashtag that's why she's my new wing girl.
I think
and like even though I like, did I have an option? Do I escalate with her and hook up with her, or do I best friend her? And then last night I got 9-10 new girls in my circle only because of her. Right. And what I found really interesting was like, I'm like, I forgot to tell you. As we're walking in, she goes, do you hire girls for OnlyFans? Are you a shrink, or are you a dating coach? And I was like, whoa.
She called that.
She knew it. She's like, you have a lot of female friends. Do you do anything with OnlyFans? Or do you do are you a shrink, or are you a dating coach? And I was like, I do construction. She's like, shut up. And I'm like, yeah, I do. I have 9 to 5 construction. She's like, you're a dating coach, aren't you? I was like, who is this girl, dude? I'm like, yes, I'm a dating coach.
Did she come up to you and just tell you, like, I just want to tell you have really good energy?
Yeah, that's my opener.
She's just like,
That's my opener.
I do. A lot of guys like might be mind blown like listening to this, but I really do think not all strippers. I mean, some are just like head in the clouds, but a lot of strippers are the good ones who make the most money, who are really great, and they're not just like banking on being sexy. They're amazing students of human behavior.
100%.
One. Yeah.
And so
100%.
they're incredibly intuitive, more than the average girl. They are aware of fucking everything. They understand social psychology really, really well because that is their living.
That's your playground, yeah.
That's your playground. So there are some who don't take it that seriously and they probably can't hack it or they, whatever. But the ones who have been there like, for a while and aren't only relying on looks because you're in this place where there's a lot of other hot naked women. You can't just get away with that.
Yeah.
They have
I
to be
actually,
good.
funny enough, now you mentioned that, Cause, like when Brent and I were like, as you were doing this thing up front, and then we're like, are they going to come in? You're like, no, you're like handling stuff. I heard the early stages of that, and I was like, wow. I actually was like, like she got me subliminally because she was like, no problem, guys. I totally understand. Like, go have fun. Whereas most girls, even if they don't say fuck you, they'd be like, all right, next, and then like move on, like cut. She was still like warmth. She was still like, no, you guys have fun. I totally understand. Like she was coming from I understand, which I do that all the time. Like when somebody expects me to give me like a negative thing, I'm like, listen, I totally get it. Like I know what the rules are. Like if I'm like trying to talk to a customer service agent and they can't give me something, I'm not like hang up. I'm like, listen, I understand you probably can't do this and I get it. And I kill them with empathy and understanding to the point where they're just like, all right, come in.
It's so sad that that's where the bar is. It's just be a decent person and we're impressed.
Yeah.
And we're like, just be a kind, decent, like
I think it's more than being a decent person. I think it's knowing how to play social dynamics really well.
Yeah.
And learning how to, reverse engineer things, reverse psychology. And one of the best in the world, I think his name is Chris Voss, FBI negotiator. That's what she did to me yesterday. If you want to get a free upgrade to hotel room, most people walk in and go, hey, my dad owns a hotel in Miami, or I know how this works. You guys have free rooms here. Can I get a free upgrade? I know you have free rooms. It's not how you get a free upgrade. What you got to do is what the girl did to me last night. That's why I was so impressed. Hey, how are you? I'm Alvaro. Yeah, I'm checking in. I had the worst day ever. I'm such a big fan of this hotel. I just want to get to my room. I really had a really bad week. Alvaro Manrique, thank you so much. 2 queen beds, yeah. I know I'm going to sound really annoying. Like, I know you get this a lot. And I know the answer is no. But I was wondering if there's any way, and I know you're going to say no, it's okay. But if there's any way I can get a free upgrade, that like would make my whole day. It would be amazing. But I know probably what the answer is. They now will want to win this interaction. And in order for them to win, what do they have to do?
Get your free upgrade.
Give me what I want.
Yep.
That's what she did to me last night. And that's after this whole push and pull happened, when we were inside, we looked at each other and we made, it was almost like a gentleman's agreement, right? It was like the real recognizes real.
Right.
And it was almost like a handshake, like, yo, let's turn this off between me and you now. Like, let's be authentic. And she dropped it. I dropped it. I wasn't running game on her. She wasn't running game on me. And it was beautiful. It segues back to my original point. I don't mind friendships or even interactions being transactional. Like, what are you bringing to my life? What is the other person bringing? And obviously, you were a human being. So being empathetic, being aware of the other person. If your friend's going through a bad time, and he's really sad, you're not going to be like, hey, I just got a raise from work. It's like, that's bad awareness right there, right? You don't want to share your good news. You want to empathize with your friend. I love all that. I have no problem with transactional friendships.
I mean, the way I look at this is people are like, are you superficial or are you deep? Are you fake or are you real? And I really do think it's a mixture of both, and both are healthy and fine. Like, I remember like talking to a girl, she like, yeah, these relationships are all superficial. I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm superficial. I'm also very deep. And she's like, no, you can't be both. I'm like, no, hear me out. And none of us here want a girl who's not very physically attractive, who's hitting the superficial stuff that we want, whether it's amazing tits, amazing face, tight, skinny, fit body, a girl who's either working out or whatever. We are superficial. We see that superficial value and we are attracted to it. What we don't want is for it to end there. We want this girl to be awesome and like baseball and be cool and be into dogs and can be silly and fun, right? So it's like the superficiality is, yeah, like I want this really hot girl who's superficial. I want the girl that these other guys also want. I want the girl that, be maybe not a million Instagram followers. I don't really give a shit about that, but like whatever. Anything else superficial other than looks,
That's a 40-yard dash. That's short term for us, right? It's a 40-yard dash. We're impressed. After we had sex with her 10 times, we're like, okay,
now
so what else?
What else do you
Now
got?
it's not a 40-yard dash. It's like a marathon. Like, what else are you bringing to the table?
But so I'm now thinking me as a girl, right? I'm thinking me as a girl, what would I want? Well, yeah, they're going to want superficial stuff. They're going to want a guy who is successful, a guy who goes to the gym and looks good, a guy who is connected and can play the value game and knows these people. I'm just hoping as that girl is like, I don't want it to end there.
Right.
So I don't mind if a girl's looking at me and like, oh, I'm attracted to him because, this guy's got a lot of money and this guy's, travels to exotic places and this guy's, really connected and got great friends. I don't mind that's a part of me that attracts her because one, I worked hard for it.
I'm with you on that, 100%.
Yeah, me too.
I think Cosmo's with you on that.
Yeah,
Cool.
absolutely.
All right, we all agree. All right, well, that's the podcast, everybody.
No.
I absolutely agree. Yeah.
But I think some guys, they always like, I don't want no gold diggers. I got to hide what I do. I don't want any girl to see. I'm like, bro, you worked your ass off for this. Right. And you don't understand, like, that's going to be attractive. Just like you want this really hot girl. It's not about hiding it. It's about being smart enough to know the girls that's not where it ends.
Yeah.
They want you for more. You have the commonalities. Like, to me, I don't understand it when guys are like, I can't tell if this girl's a gold digger or not. I'm like, unless she's the greatest fucking actress in the world, and maybe they exist, and maybe there are like the most professional, incredible, gold digger actresses. But in my mind, then you deserve it. Then here's an Oscar, you deserve it, okay? Because for me, it's like you got to be passionate about social dynamics. You got to be into like Cupid and the dog stuff. You got to be into nerdy shit, like Marvel, whatever. Like for you to know all these things and to vibe with me on that level, and for me to be able to have deep conversation with you and get my humor, and we joke around the right way. We're on the same wavelength, and you get along with my friends, and you guys approve of them. Like if you go through all of that, and you're this gorgeous hot girl. You win. Like and you're a gold digger, whatever. Like I don't.
Even if it's fake and she's a gold digger, I appreciate the hard work, the investment, and the hustle. I'd be
so
like,
impressed.
I'd
be so impressed that she still earns it. So I don't really truly get that gold digger question. It's like guys are like, it's like almost a girl's like gets fake tits, and it's like, guys are pigs. They just want me for sex. And it's like, you got these double D fake tits. Like what are you talking about? Of course. Or like, these guys are staring at my cleavage. You're rocking put on a sweater. What are you talking about? I'm like it's very clear you're trying to own the sexuality thing. So of course men are going to be sexually attracted to you. That's not a bad thing. Just like it's not a bad thing when women are attracted to guys who are successful and have their shit together. So okay, cool. I think we're all in agreement on.
I agree, and I think on that note, you should let the viewers know if they want to get into my circle, how can they connect with the program via iTunes, Jarrett? If they want to get in my circle.
Okay, if you guys want to get into Albert's Circle, we're going to do a raffle. So just make sure to give us 5 stars on iTunes, 5 stars on iTunes. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button and to leave comment Albert's Circle. If you
get in my circle, deep in my circle.
Anyone who comments Albert's Circle will have a chance to do a one-on-one call with you.
Yes.
Is that cool? We'll do a raffle. If you comment Albert's Circle on this on YouTube and we see you hit the like, you may get a chance to get in a circle. The next episode, we're going to get in Kosmo's Circle.
Awesome, guys. Much love. We will see you in the next episode.
Bye, guys.